Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. Today I am here with the mid-year book Freakout tag 2021. I can't believe we're already halfway through the year. This is a video that I really enjoyed doing halfway through the year to kind of just check in on, what are some of the books that I'm liking, what has surprised me, all of those fun questions. And I will have another video coming up on how I am doing with some of the goals that I gave myself at the beginning of the year. But for now, let's just get started with the mid-year book Freakout tag. So question number one is best book you've read so far. And I have to tell you that I've been reading some really great books in 2021, and it was really hard to pick just one. I'm going to name two in this one. I'm going to name Pachinko by Min Jin Lee, and I'm going to name Survivor by Octavia E. Butler. Pachinko is set in South Korea, Korea and Japan, and it takes you through the Japanese occupation of Korea through World War II, and then afterwards. It's an amazing book. I have to tell you, before I picked it up, I was a bit intimidated by the length of this book and also by all the rave reviews. Please don't be intimidated. It's a book that lives up to the hype and is just an amazing book. And then Survivor, if you're into sci-fi and fantasy, this is an amazing book. It's not a perfect book, but I'm still putting it as part of my answer for this question because it was so fun to just dig through all the layers. Octavia E. Butler was an amazing writer, and I've just been enjoying everything that I've been reading from her. So I'm going to keep going in reading more Octavia E. Butler. Question number two is best sequel you've read so far, and that one was easy because at the beginning of the year I read The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, and this is the last book in the trilogy, and oh my goodness, it like if you've read the first two in the trilogy, then you know that R.F. Kuang writes in a way that like is kind of unexpected. She's not afraid of killing off characters, of like doing all these scary things, and yet it was just a really nice ending to the trilogy and to the story. I really enjoyed this book, and I've already read this book with Priscilla over at Bookie Charm, I believe is her channel. I will link her channel down below. She hasn't been making a ton of videos this year, but everything she recommends is amazing, so I'll make sure and link her video. The next question, let me pull this up again. Prompt number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. And I'm gonna just pick something that's on near my area right now. That would be Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. I just started this book, so I will be reading it, and you'll be hearing me talk more about this in my end of June wrap up. But this is a book that's been sitting on my bookshelf since it came out, and I really wanted to get to it, so I finally am. Prompt number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that one is also really easy. That is Velvet is the Night by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I have an arc of it sitting in my Kindle, and I've just been holding up because I didn't want to like read it too early and then like get too antsy for its release date. And I haven't pre-ordered it because I'm moving, and I wanted to make sure and have an address that it was arriving to before I pre-ordered, but I will be pre-ordering that as soon as I move into my new place. All right, prompt number 5 is biggest disappointment. Okay, well, this has been a really great reading year so far. I've had a few duds this year, and the one I'm choosing to name for this prompt is going to be The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. I was warned that this was not going to be a great book, but then I was like, no, I don't know. Some people are too picky. I'm still going to go ahead and read it. And yeah, if you liked The Handmaid's Tale, don't bother with The Testaments. It's just not worth it. Prompt number 6 is biggest surprise, and for this I am naming Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clark. Ring Shout is an amazing novella. You're following a young girl who is fighting monsters after the Civil War. It's like the KKK is a real threat. Not only are they made up of humans, but they're made up of real like demons. And she is a demon hunter. And I need to read this book again, and it's a short novella, so I will at some point this year actually. It is just amazingly written. It's not a surprise to me that P. Djeli Clark is a historian, because his writing is full of like meaning and like layers of history. I have really loved his writing so far, and really loved Ring Shout. Prompt number 7 is favorite new author debut or new to you. So this is definitely not a debut. A new to me author has been Honore de Balzac. Actually, I did read the Balzac when I was in college, but it's been such a long time that I'm counting him as that kind of new to me author. I read Eugenie Grandet this year and really enjoyed it. I am reading a bunch of French classics as part of a series about every month this year, and I already have other Balzac books on my queue for this project. I just really enjoyed reading him. Prompt number 8 is newest fictional crush, and I really struggled with this prompt because I don't crush on fictional characters in the same way that I used to when I was a teenager. I just don't. But if I had to pick one, I would pick the vampire from Big Bad Wolf by Suleikha Snyder. If you've read this book, you know this is going to be a series. It's a urban fantasy series. Big Bad Wolf is the first one, and I just know that in a future installment, the main character is going to be the vampire. I don't even remember his name, but I'm like, yeah, honey, I can't wait to read your story. And that is an instance of like, I really love that character much more than I loved the book. Like the book itself was just meh for me, but the character, I'm looking forward to his book. All right, prompt number 9, newest favorite character. So I have lots of characters that stick out to me this year so far, but I have to go with Makina from Signs Preceding the End of the World by Yuri Herrera. I just recently buddy read this with Shannon over at That's So Po, and actually when you see this video, there should be a video up on her channel where we discuss the themes of this book, so I will link that down below so you can go hear us talk more about it. But Makina is somebody who is very sure of herself and her place in the world, and I just really enjoyed her and following her journey. Really enjoyed it a lot. Prompt number 10 is book that made you cry, and I will be honest, I cry very easily. I have no problem crying when reading books, but one that was quite emotional at the end was Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Malinda. It definitely made me cry. I had already fallen in love with the two main characters. You're following a teenager who is finding out that she likes girls, and this is the late 1950s in San Francisco and Chinatown, and so you know, being a lesbian is not okay with her family, it's not okay with her community, and yet she is exploring the world of like gay clubs and all of that, and her love for one of her classmates, and I just wanted her to be happy. Prompt number 11 is book that made you happy. There are several books that made me happy this year. I couldn't name any number of them, truthfully. I'm going to choose to mention here The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, because this book was a surprise in a good way, and it made me, like, it just hit a lot of themes that I really enjoy, and I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. And you're following a midwife at the end of World War I in Ireland who is in charge of the women who are pregnant and coming in with Spanish flu, with the pandemic. And it was an amazing read, and it made me so happy that it was like so good. It just made me happy. So it was not a book that made me laugh. It's a heavy book, but it made me happy. Prompt number 12 is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. So I just went, I'm a sucker for a good cover. So I just went with a book that I had already within my vicinity, and this is Sorrowland by River Solomon. I really enjoy the writing a lot, and now River Solomon is like an auto-buy for me whenever they release a book. This is their latest book, and look at how blue and beautiful it is. I just really like that cover too. Prompt number 13 is, what book do you need to read by the end of the year? Everything. Literally, this is the hardest question for me because I could name 20 books, and some of which I will get to and some of which I will not. So I'll actually refer you to my TBR list for June, because I have a bunch of Caribbean books and a bunch of queer books in that video, and all of those I think are must reads for me this year. So I'm gonna, if I don't get through all of them in June, which I will not, they're gonna roll over for the coming months. And then the last prompt is favorite book community member. And this is really hard for me because I feel like I've made several, BookTube friends. I have quite a few channels, a long list of channels actually that I watch on a regular basis. In 2021, I've definitely been taking a lot of recommendations from Shannon at That's So Po, and also from Costin, and her channel is Always Doing. I've been reading quite a bit of the books that finally that Dee Dee over at Branco Reading has recommended. Olivia Savannah over at Olivia's Catastrophe, her taste and her and my taste, there's a lot of overlap in it. A lot of times if she loves a book, I know that I'm gonna love it, and if she doesn't love a book, I also know I probably won't love it. Not everything matches up perfectly, but there's a lot of overlap on that. I'm also really liking Alba. Her channel is Seriela. She reads a lot of Puerto Rican and Caribbean books, and it's just a lot of books that I don't normally hear other people talking about, and I really love channels that do that talk about books that not everybody's talking about. I could go on and on actually, because like Marina over at Young Gifted and Black, also has just amazing recommendations of books that are sometimes hard to find, but her recommendations are worth like the hunt for these books. They really are. So I will stop myself here because I could go on forever. But those are some of the people that come to mind when I think of some of my favorite people on BookTube. And if you're not following them, I highly recommend you go check out their channel. I'll link them down below. Take a look, click on a few videos, watch a few things, and see if you like them. I'm like, my reading is so scattered and all over the place in terms of things. So, but chances are that if you like my channel, you will find something to like in these other channels. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm gonna ask you to tell me what is your favorite book so far in the year you've read in 2021, because I'll probably be adding it to my TBR. It's so bad. My poor TBR is currently in boxes crying because I'm not giving it any love. But yes, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.